Over the past few years, a good number of software makers have introduced some sort of AI or machine learning technology to help us edit more efficiently. And they may argue it helps us edit better too. But are these programs making us more efficient, or are they making us lazy and reliant? Now, if you're a photographer, you know that taking the picture is often the easiest and quickest part of the process. On the computer is really where you really flex your creative muscles to bring life to the vision or concept that you had for the image. And sometimes that is a long, grueling task full of repetitive steps, tedious masking. It really is a marathon of sorts, but when you make it to the finish line, there's an authentic appreciation for what you've created because it is something you created. So of course, when software comes out that can turn 10 steps into 1, 10 minutes into 2, as photographers, we're intrigued. And as business owners who understand that time is definitely money, we're jumping in head first. So where's the problem? Or should I say, is there a problem? Now let me say this. I'm not looking at this from a moral or ethical point of view. I know there's a lot of photographers who feel it's downright wrong to replace a sky or heavily retouched skin. That is a conversation to be had, but that's not what I'm talking about in this video. The question I'm asking is, does this software help or hurt a photographer? But wait. Photography and photo editing are two separate things. Why are you combining them? Now that is something to debate in and of itself, but for the sake of ease, let's go with that. My question still remains, does this software help make us a better photographer? At this point, I'm sure you've seen an image with a terrible sky replacement or a portrait where the skin has been smoothed to oblivion, and you can't help but wonder if the creator of that image really thought that that image looked good. What did the image look like straight out of camera? What were they going for with the edit and the look? Photography is a subjective beast, and what looks good to one can be the worst to another. Get it? Got it? Moving on. But regardless of whether we think someone's edit is good or bad, I think we all can agree that editing has become easier, it's become faster, and arguably more thoughtless than ever before. What once required an idea, some skills to make it happen can now be achieved by clicking a button or moving a slider. And for those who've long had those ideas and that skill set, they may argue that these software advancements have made their job or creative outlet so much easier, and now they can spend more time doing what they actually enjoy doing, being out and about, camera in hand, capturing the goodness in front of them. But I would say those folks may be the minority. So to answer my own question, I think for many photographers, it's making them worse. Okay, maybe worse is too strong of a word for some. It's making them stagnant. Photography has, in many ways, shifted away from getting things right in camera and instead relying heavily on software to allow us to create the images we want. Marketing and the internet have convinced us that we need the absolute most dynamic range in our cameras so we can recover those highlights and shadows in post. Knowing how to correctly light a portrait seems almost ridiculous because we have frequency separation and macro dodge and burn, neural filters to do the heavy lifting for us so we can essentially sculpt the light after the fact. There's no need to carefully plan out for your landscape photo. You could just replace the sky in seconds and use some filters to get that image looking just like you envisioned while sitting on your couch. Background is too busy? No worries. You can just mask it out, replace it with another background, or you can Gaussian blur it and make it look like you were shooting at f 0.01. And when all else fails and nothing seems to work, just convert it to a black and white, because everything looks good in black and white. Everything I've said thus far can really be summed up into this one question. At what point does photography end and digital art begin? Photographers these days are often thinking more about what they can do in post to an image than how to best actually capture the image. They don't care about exposure being off, lighting being bad, composition not being great, because they know all of these things can easily be manipulated on the computer within seconds or minutes. So in that respect, AI and machine learning editing is making photographers lazy. It's changed the very dynamic of what photography is supposed to be. Instead of the image itself being 2/3 the way done, it's now become the blank canvas, the starting point almost. And by the time that image is considered complete, it's lost almost every piece of authenticity from that real life moment. It becomes a digital interpretation of what the photographer wanted that moment to be. Now, obviously, post-processing is nothing new. Even Film Day saw its share of techniques and tricks to breathe more life into the image. But post-processing used to be an avenue to enhance an image, not to create it. Now, of course, with every tool, it could be used or abused. So this isn't to say that AI and machine learning editing is all bad, or that all photographers are being more hurt and less helped by the technology. But I think it's important as photographers and as a society in general to really step back and evaluate the impact these tools are having, not only to the craft of photography, but on people and how we perceive others, how we perceive reality. Nowadays, it's almost impossible to decipher what parts of an image are real and what parts are, well, a figment of the creator's imagination. And while some may say that that is art and has always been art, we can't be naive to ignore the danger of how easily we can now alter a moment in time. So many photographers say, I love photography because it allows me to capture a moment and preserve it forever. But what happens when that moment is changed, tweaked into being a more polished moment? What exactly are we preserving? What are we saying to our audience, the people looking at our work, the people captured in those memories? The very essence of any tool is to help someone perform a task easier or quicker. Sure, you can drive in a nail with a shoe, but a hammer works much better. But even though that hammer was designed for nails, it can still break a window. These editing tools on the surface can very well be considered great advancement in the editing workspace. They make our editing job more efficient. They allow us to do more in less time. They allow us to fix minor mistakes that maybe we may have missed on location. But they also provide a crutch to those who don't possess the skill or don't care to learn how to be a photographer, how to create an image that can stand on its own straight out of camera. When people can apply filters as quick as they can scroll up and down, photography becomes more cookie cutter and less individualistic. So what are your thoughts? What impact do you think these editing tools have on photography? Please comment down below and let me know. As always, I appreciate you watching my video. Until the next one, take care.